The silence in my own head was the loudest room I knew. In that room, I wasn't Albert, a quiet guy who fixed guitars and tried not to take up too much space. In there, I was Sophia. The thought of her was like a melody I couldn't get out of my head, a gentle hum beneath the noise of my life. But letting her out felt like standing on a cliff's edge. The freedom was breathtaking, the fall terrifying. My last attempt, months ago, had ended with a bottle thrown from a passing car and a slur that echoed long after the glass shattered. My friend Chloe was the only one who had ever been invited into that silent room. She worked part-time at the Gilded Trunk, a vintage costume shop downtown. It was she who had gently coaxed the story of Sophia out of me. And then, with a casual bravery I'll never understand, she told her girlfriend, Maya. She told her parents. She even told Jeffrey. Jeffrey. He was the tenant in their backyard flat, the brooding bassist in their band, and a constant low-grade source of dread for me. The first time Chloe used my chosen pronouns in front of him, he scoffed. "Jesus, Chloe, you're really encouraging this?" he'd muttered, not even looking at me. His disapproval was a thick, greasy stain in the air. He wasn't violent, just dismissive. He looked through me. And when he did look at me, it was with a kind of pitying contempt that was worse than anger. He was a wall I was constantly afraid of walking into. So when Chloe texted me one Saturday morning, "Come over. Maya has a surprise for you," my heart did a frantic little dance. I shaved carefully, my hand trembling slightly, the memory of shattered glass still sharp. I told myself it was just at their house, safe. I walked in, and there was Maya, Chloe's girlfriend, her smile as warm as the morning sun. She was a makeup artist, and her entire professional kit was spread across the dining table like a painter's palette. "For you," she said. For the next hour, I sat as still as a statue while Maya worked her magic. The cool slide of a brush over my eyelid, the soft puff of powder on my cheek, her gentle instructions to look up or close for me. She refused to let me see a mirror. "Trust the process," she whispered. When she was finally done and turned me to face the hallway mirror, I felt a breath catch my throat. It was Sophia. Her eyes, my eyes, stared back, framed in a smoky, shimmering blue that made them look deeper and more knowing than Albert ever had. I thought that was it, the peak of the day. But then Chloe started gathering bags, a mischievous glint in her eye. "Remember that sea green gown you described and the 1920s flapper dress?" "What's going on?" I asked, a knot of anxiety tightening in my stomach. My blood ran cold when I saw Jeffrey leaning against Chloe's beat-up sedan, scrolling on his phone. "He had to help move some heavy racks," Chloe explained. He glanced up as we approached, and his eyes swept over my face, my carefully applied makeup. He didn't say a word, just gave a barely perceptible shake of his head and got in the car. The silence during the drive was deafening, my own joy shrinking under the weight of his judgment. The Gilded Trunk was a sanctuary. The air smelled of old perfume. For a few hours, I forgot Jeffrey was even there. Chloe and Maya were my personal stylists, my cheering section. I slipped into a red sleeveless dress that hugged my frame, feeling its smooth fabric against my newly shaven legs. Then came a simple flowing skirt and a soft cotton blouse. With each change, I felt more like myself. I tried on a delicate lace bra, its straps a faint, thrilling pressure on my shoulders, and matching silk panties that felt like a secret whisper against my skin. Then Chloe pulled out a gown. It was a deep, midnight blue velvet, heavy and luxurious, with a low-cut back. As I slipped it on, it felt less like a costume and more like a skin I was meant to have. I stepped out of the dressing room, the velvet swishing softly around my ankles. And that's when the turning point came, not with a bang, but with a quiet crackle. Jeffrey was in the corner, on the phone. His voice was low and strained. "What do you mean they passed?" I understand." He hung up, his shoulders slumping. He looked utterly defeated, the usual armor of his cynicism gone, replaced with a raw, naked disappointment. He'd been counting on that gig, a small local label he thought was his big shot. He didn't see me watching. He just sank onto a wooden crate, burying his face in his hands. And in that moment, he wasn't Jeffrey, the intimidating wall. He was just a guy whose dreams had just been crushed. Something moved in me. Sophia, braver than Albert, walked over. I didn't have words of wisdom. I just picked up a bottle of water from our bag and held it out to him. He looked up, startled, his eyes red-rimmed. He saw the velvet gown, my made-up face, and then he saw the water in my outstretched hand. He stared at me for a long moment, a dozen emotions flickering across his face. Confusion, anger, and then something else, something softer. "Why are you being nice to me?" he asked. "Because you looked like you needed someone to be," I said, my voice barely a whisper. He took the water, his fingers brushing mine. A tiny spark, a frisson of unexpected connection shot up my arm. He didn't smile, but the hard lines around his eyes eased. He just nodded, a silent truce passing between us. Later, after Chloe and Maya had gotten food, we were alone in the quiet, magical chaos of the shop. I was still in the velvet gown, reluctant to take it off. A tiny, intricate clasp at the back was stuck. "Here," he said, his voice quiet behind me. "Let me." His fingers, warm and surprisingly gentle, brushed against the bare skin of my back. My breath hitched. He wasn't fumbling or rough. His touch was deliberate, careful. He worked the clasp free, but his hands didn't move away immediately. They rested for heartbeat on my shoulder blades. I turned to face him. The space between us was charged, filled with everything unsaid. He looked at me, really looked at me. His eyes traced the line of my jaw, my lips, my eyes. "Sophia," he said, and the way he spoke my name sent a shiver through me. It wasn't a question or an accusation. It was a statement, an acceptance. "You're so beautiful." He leaned in slowly, giving me every chance to pull away. I didn't. His lips met mine, and it wasn't a kiss of lust or conquest. It was a kiss of discovery, of apology, of seeing. It was a slow, tender exploration, a silent conversation where Albert's fear and Sophia's courage met Jeffrey's broken pride and newfound vulnerability. In the dusty, silent costume shop, surrounded by the ghosts of 1,000 other lives, we weren't a man and the cross-dressing man. We were just two souls, finding a soft place to land in each other. The end of the night didn't come with a grand declaration. We packed up the car in a comfortable silence. Back at the house, as the sun began to hint at the horizon, I changed back into Albert's clothes. They felt foreign, ill-fitting. I sat on the back porch steps, feeling the familiar wave of post-Sophia melancholy wash over me. The screen door creaked open. Jeffrey came out with 2 mugs of coffee. He handed one to me and sat down close, our knees brushing. He didn't say anything for a long time. Then he reached over and took my hand. His grip was firm, warm, and unapologetic. He didn't need to say that he was sorry. He didn't need to promise a future. In the quiet gray of the dawn, holding the hand of the man who had despised me and had just kissed me with a tenderness that unmade me, I felt the silent, loud room in my head finally, beautifully, fall quiet. There was no Albert, no Sophia. There was just me. And for the first time, that felt like enough.